Yo, what is going on today, guys? It is Sam, better known as Samito. Welcome back to the Raid channel, where today I'm telling you guys we have to make this video. We're going to do an epics version of this video as well to follow up. But we're going to be talking about the best legendaries in the game in Grim Forest, man. Honestly, I love this update. This is my favorite piece of content that I've seen in the game. Like, it's way better than Curse City, way more fun. I think they can continue to improve it over time as well. I love how I actually do like the champions, like being boss versions. Like, I think it's super interesting. Really, really cool. Spices up the game quite a bit. So I am a big fan personally, and I'm about to finish up my first go at Grim Forest Hard. So that should be fun. I've got an awesome code for you guys where if you go down in the description down below, you can get the starter champion Elenaril, a free legendary poison combuster who is really, really strong, especially when you're progressing your account. To top that off, as you level up, you're going to get Vergis, Tagoar, and Deacon Armstrong as you progress your account. All you've got to do is log out of Plarium Play on PC, uninstall, sign up with my link down below using a new email, finish that tutorial, then check your inbox to claim your first champ. This gives you an insane start with Raid Shadow Legends with $200 worth of free goodies. So join my squad and click that link. I'm excited. Now let's start out with I guess we're not going to do mythicals in this video. Honestly, guys, I'll be real. Pretty much every mythical in the game is insane in Grim Forest. Even the worst ones like Furad and Frolny are honestly good. Like, I've been using my Furad. Unfortunately, guys, you guys know my curse with freaking Furad, man. I pulled them so damn much. It's unbelievable. No Galathir or Siegfried yet, but I did pop a nice as well. But let's go ahead and talk about the best Legos in Grim Forest. I am going to go by faction and pick out two and then pick out my favorites for each. Okay, we'll start out with the Bannerlords. Who are the best Legos in the Bannerlords faction for Grim Forest? Now, I think to no surprise here, undoubtedly gonna go with Marichka. I mean, she is just insane everywhere. She's insane insurance. She's really good against that little gold goblin. I can never say his name. Just insane insurance there. If you run her with another reviver, you never have to worry about the incoming damage really exceeding a point where it ends your run. Her passive is just insanely good. She brings a cleanse, which is very, very good. Big healing, which is super essential in Grim Forest. Marichka, definitely going to be up there. The second best, I would say, I'm going to come in with like a spicy take here, guys. I'm actually going to go with Raglan. I think Raglan post buffs are really, really good. Turn meter fill on the A1. You've got a full cleanse again here with a heal, and then a 2-turn res with a full cooldown reset. That is going to be so useful in waves against bosses. It just gets you back in fights. It's really, really good. Now, a couple honorable mentions here. Kaj of the Rye, full cleanse or double cleanse, block debuffs, which are going to be one of the most important buffs to have in the game. Protected with a good AoE res, whole team 50% turn meter. Really, really strong there. In terms of damage dealers, I think you can't go wrong with Staltus. I think he's going to be really, really good for a lot of different waves, deflecting buffs back, especially against some of the boss champions out there that can be a serious pain. I think he is going to be really good. Okay, that's going to do it for Bannerlords. Let's head over to High Elves here. Okay, let's start out with the Legos. We'll start out with the obvious here. Wallmaster Athorion. I still think, despite enemy max HP not being as good against a lot of bosses, is amazing versus waves. Block buff's going to be super essential. He's getting an extra turn on his A3 to shake debuffs on him with a lot of turn meter fill on his A1. Enemy max HP on the A2. I think that the Wall Man is seriously no joke. Do not sleep on him. We love our Wallmaster. Now, the other one I'm going to say and throw out there, believe it or not, guys, I actually think Arbiter is going to be really, really good in Grim Forest. I actually drafted Arbiter this go-around. I think she's a great reviver. I mean, an AoE revive with an extra turn and a heal on it, increased attack, weaken, some buff reduction as well. Arbiter is going to be a good draft anywhere, especially on places that need a lot of turn meter boost. She's a great turn meter booster. Turn meter boost really, really essential on several of the bosses. Again, is the Trove Master, I forget the gold goblin's name. I forget his name. I keep blanking on the name. Turn meter boost is super important there. She's going to bring an AoE res that you need with some decent healing, as well as some buff reduction if your buffs get stripped by that boss's A1 in particular. She covers a lot of different things, and I think she's actually pretty slept on in a lot of these situations, especially against boss-like champions and their minions, where you really need to be boosting a lot. She can turn a fight back around and instantly boost your team. She's going to be really, really good, and just in pretty much everywhere, all around, she's going to be great. And for that, I'm going to leave it for the high elves. Now, those are two of my favorites that I've actually been using. Though a quick note, I do want to shout out to Tura. I did not draft him, but if you block debuffs is essential in Grim Forest, especially protected ones as well. Tatura's bringing block debuffs and increased defense on his 2 on a 3-turn cooldown. So again, if you want to put him in 9-piece protection, if you need block debuffs, which a lot of the bosses require it, as well as Perfect Veil, he could be a pretty solid option. So keep your eyes out for Tatura. This guy's pretty dang good. So don't sleep on Tatura Rhymehide, okay? Sacred Order, a lot of great champions here. So I'm going to start it out with my personal favorite, and that's been Vault Keeper Wixwell, man. Wixwell has been very, very good for me. Again, against the freaking gold boss, where he's reflecting all that damage back, putting up that big shield is going to be really, really helpful for you. He also has some good control during waves. He brings extension and can grow the shield, be a great anchor for your team with some provoke on the A1. Wixwell can be a really, really good option for you in your squad if you're struggling to keep people alive and you need a buff extender. Wixwell is very, very good at that. Do not sleep on this man. As for another great champ here that would be good, I mean, there's a lot of different options in this faction, to be honest. Cardiel is great. He's going to bring the ally attack, revive on death, which can be great, and healing. Overall, I would probably say Cardiel. But second to that, I would say maybe Noelle. Again, an AoE res with great control against waves with the freeze skill there. Venus, a great debuffer if you don't need a... But here's the thing with Venus, guys. Like, not bad. It decreased defense and weaken if you need that. But... And she does bring burn. I take it back. She does bring burn, which is essential for a couple different bosses. But it's going to be hard to get Cupidus on the same team for the buff removal. I think she is really, really good in a lot of these places for the debuffs that you need. So if you need a great debuff for Venus, is definitely a pretty good draft as well. I would stay away from Cupidus, though. I don't think he's bringing enough here for a damage dealer. Notice that we haven't really picked a lot of damage dealers, guys, because to be honest with you, supports and getting the right support champs are way more important in Grim Forest. Debuffers and the support champs, having the right ones of those are just really, really important, because a lot of these bosses actually require certain debuffs on them. Like that one boss, he will reflect damage if you don't have a burn up on him, right? So having debuffers are super, super important, but we'll get to some damage dealers that are pretty good. And I'll tell you what, I'll pick out a damage dealing option in each of these factions as well, because why not, though? Honestly, I don't have, other than Siegfried, I don't really have many great damage dealers. So Alice could be great against waves. Don't sleep on Alice. She could be great. Little honorable mention right there. Artur could be a decent reser as well. But really, my top 3 here are going to be Wixwell, Cardiel, and Noelle. I think those are really, really awesome champions, okay? Barbarians. This is where it's going to get fun, okay? Hot take, one of the most underrated champions that is going to be insanely good. S tier in Grim Forest is going to be a Pardon Clanfather, man. A Pardon is great. He's got Turn Meter Shield on his A1, big heals on the A2, but most importantly, he's got a Cleanse with 2 continuous heals and a block debuffs. Putting this guy in 9-piece protection is going to be insanely good against everything in the game. Mimic, the waves, the custom bosses, again, and the final boss, guys. He is the second best continuous healer, turn meter booster in the game behind Senna Amberheart. If you have this guy, I cannot recommend enough to build him. He's amazing in Amiest and Curse City. A great Chimera option because he's cleansing block buffs and heal reduction with, what else does he cleanse? 100% chance of removing 1 random debuff from our allies. Always removes block buffs and heal reduction. Insanely good champion. And to top that off, he brings 10% turn meter boost every time a continuous heal activates on an ally. So every time they get a turn, that's a 20% turn meter boost. It is so, so strong. Throw this guy in 9-piece protection and watch him anchor your team like there's no tomorrow. He will not disappoint you, okay? Now, in terms of other really great champions here, Tuhanarok is going to be amazing. I wish I had her. She's going to cleanse on the passive, brings a ton of healing, is super essential against a lot of these bosses that are putting up freezes. Provoke. putting up, you know, block buffs, whatever it might be. Duhanarok is a great increased speed healer option to keep your team going. Another one is going to be Freya, man. Freya is insanely good. Provoke on the A1, increased defense, big shield on the A2 with block debuffs, and a cleanse with Terminator Fill on the A3 on a 3-turn cooldown with a great passive as well. Insanely strong with defense escalation. She is a very, very good champion. You cannot go wrong with her. Throw her a 9-piece protection as well, and she's an amazing anchor. It's really important to draft as many block debuff champions as you can to your squad. And we'll leave it there for barbarians. I mean, honorable mentions, Armand's, right? Obviously great for controlling waves and different things like that. Turvold is a great damage dealer. He could also really step up to the plate with max HP damage, being a lot worse in the Grim Forest. So, okay, that's it for the barbarians. Let's head down to the ogres, man. The ogres. Let's talk about this. Number one of the greatest champions you can draft, definitely going to be Stock the Broken. He brings Terminator Fill. He brings a ton of poisons. He brings a bunch of continuous heals and a weaken if there's a burn on the field on this. And he can pierce block damage with the ignition of poisons and burns, which you have in a Law's boss fight. You are going to see a lot of block damage from a lot of these champions out there. So having Stock out there as just, again, an all-around amazing support champion with ignition, piercing block damage, he's going to bring a lot for a lot of your teams. I would say Stock is definitely a good draft. Now, some more interesting ones here. Kuragar, if you're looking for a cleanser in this faction, he's got a full cleanse on his A2 with some ally protection. This actually could be really good against some of the bosses that are out there to anchor your team. Again, I wouldn't put this guy at the tippy top, right? But if you have him and you don't have any other options, he absolutely can get the job done for you with the draft. He might be worth drafting if you don't have many other cleansers or healers out there or ally protectors on your squad. Bring some increased res as well for him and some other people out there. Big shout out to him. Now, another big one. Actually, this guy just got a pretty big buff outside of the big, you know, Klazak. This guy is so broken. I'm not even going to talk about this guy because he's actually just one of the best champions in the game. You can run this dude anywhere, and he is absolutely, like, he's going to have 5 stars pretty much ever. Yeah, I mean, yeah. This dude, like, I'm not even going to waste my time on this. This guy is so good. If you have him, I don't even need to say it. Just a top 10 champion in the game. Absolutely insane. But I will say, Torgin, what did I say? Just got buffed, and he's good now. He's actually probably great in the Curse or the Grim Forest. Full heal by 20% of his max HP, increased speed buff on all allies, continuous heals, and block debuffs on the same skill on a 3-turn cooldown. This brings so much of what you need. He's a great support on any of the bosses in the entire Grim Forest. Awesome, okay? Then a full cleanse, Terminator Fill, with additional Terminator Fill for each debuff removed, and then increase accuracy. This dude does so much. With damage escalation as well, if they have less HP than their target, insanely good against bosses, right? This dude is absolutely insane with a buff spread on his A1. Oh my god. Big buffs to this guy. If you have him, all the power to you. As for some damage dealers, if you want some CC, Moto is not necessarily bad, but there's not a lot of great nukers in this faction, to be honest with you, outside of Gizmak. So, or, you know, Klazag. Dude, this guy, I want him so bad. He is so good. Or Grazer, I guess. Or Gurgo, I suppose. But yeah, okay, we'll leave it at that. There's the ogres for you guys. Some good ogres to draft. Let's head over to the lizards, man. The lizards. Now, obviously, you can't go wrong with Donnie, man. Donnie is great. Cooldown reduction, increased speed, full cleanse, Terminator Fill, healing on his A1. He's an all-around great support that you can draft anywhere in the game, and he'll get amazing value for you. Big shout out to Donnie. He is a great option. Now, another super goated one. Nekmo Thar would be an amazing draft if you had Nekmo Thar, okay? He's got decreased attack on his A1, increased speed and leech on the A2, and then increased speed, 30% Terminator Fill, an extra turn on a 4-turn cooldown on the A3. Amazing champion with additional Terminator Fill by 5% each time a debuff on an enemy is removed, transferred, or expires. Great speed lead here as well with 19%. He's an amazing engine for you guys. An amazing engine, keeps the ball moving. His reviews in game are going to be great as well. He's going to be very essential on a lot of the bosses, and he's great versus waves for control. So a big shout out to Nekmo Thar. Really wish I had this guy. As for another support champion that's going to be great, honestly, Pythion, an amazing revive option here. Double hitter, with healing on the A1. More block debuffs, guys. If your champ is consistent at putting up block debuffs, they are a great draft to have on your team. Super, super strong. Love Pythion. Wish I had him, man. Block debuffs there with a full res and strengthen with 50% HP with a 2-turn strengthen on top. And then 5% less damage for each buff on them, stacks up to 25%. He's a great damage mitigator to top that off. Then I don't really need to talk about the rest of these guys too much. I mean, Teox, an amazing damage. They're the best faction unit in the game alongside Volcanos and Fina. Insane damage. Pulls damage out of your team, hits like an absolute truck, extra turn if there's a kill, and then, Jesus, increase attack and crit damage on himself, extra hit under enemies, under debuffs. It just gets better and better when it comes to Teox, and his reviews are going to back that up. This dude is a monster if you have him, but he is a faction unity. Chris, you can't go wrong with Chris. Decreased speed, increased speed with buff extension, with ally protect, continuous heals, and a provoke. All of it on this guy's kit. Absolutely insane. Brings debuffs that'll help you out when he's hit. Does so much. Can't go wrong with him. So Furion is great. Fighty is great. Chagger if you need help with waves, but otherwise I would not recommend him as a damage dealer because you're going to have so much control your support champions anyway. When you're drafting your damage dealers, you're generally going to want them to be the hardest hitters that you have on your account. Most of mine are my mythicals, to be honest with you. And well, we'll get to some of my big boy damage dealers here in a bit. Any of these lizards are great. You can't go wrong with any of those guys. Now, on to the skinwalkers, man. My freaking Mezamel ticks me off, okay? Now, some of the best drafts out here. What can we go with? I mean, I'm not sure how much value Razzlevarg will get, but I think that Gwendolyn is an absolute beast if you have her, man. She brings a lot of debuffs. You crit cap her, she can bring a ton of damage for you. Some good control to decrease speed, increase accuracy, and block buffs if you have a chance of stealing right. On top of that, though, really, her extra turns and her crit damage gonna be big, okay? Ignore defense effects are heavily mitigated against a lot of these bosses, but Gwendolyn might be actually pretty sleeper because she's going to bring a lot of debuffs, but if you do a lot of damage in your turns, then you want to up your count a lot. That's why Senna, we'll get to Senna in a bit, and Nekmothar, those turn meter boosters, they're some of the best supports in the game in Grim Force. Gwendolyn is kind of like that, but because she's getting so many extra turns, you can't get a bunch of damage off on a turn, then you want to get a bunch of turns to make up for the damage and volume rather than actual output on the specific turn that you're getting. And Gwendolyn could be a nice little sleeper to get around that, man. Don't sleep on Gwendolyn. I actually think she's probably a pretty good draft. Marius, I mean, obviously is going to be insanely good. I don't really need to talk about that too much. I'm not sure how great Wukong is going to be, to be honest, guys. I think he's all right in waves, but I personally am not going to draft my Wukong. That's not what I'm looking for in a damage dealer. Like, he'll be great in the waves, but I need somebody... Well, I take it back. He could be great to set him up, similar to event dungeons, right? Because essentially all of these... I take it back. Wukong might be exceptional now that I think about it. I didn't draft mine, but in the same way that people were speedrunning event dungeons, you could set up one-shot Wukong teams on a lot of the champion bosses in the game, but again, that requires a lot of setup, and you might not get the drafts that you want. So I said Wukong actually, you know, put an asterisk on Wukong. I'm not sure how great he actually is here. To be honest with you guys, my main damage dealer for this faction is my chicken. My Gallius is nasty, and he's in so many of my waves. It is absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too thrilled about too many of the skinwalkers, to be honest with you, now that I look at them. Uka would be a great reviver option, but really Marius and Leorius are kind of going to be the two hardest hitters that I would draft. Wukong I'd have to experiment with a little bit, but yeah, not too much in this faction in the Lego category in terms of damage. Again, I've been using my chicken, so we'll see. The Orcs, okay, man. God, I love my Ashnar. I got to show you guys a banner I had. Okay, the Orcs are tough, man. The Orcs are tough. So number one, Crocat is probably the number one damage option in this faction in the Lego category. I recently pulled a Packmaster. I would love to get a Crocat. If you had a Crocat, the dog probably goes crazy in waves. It's absolutely worth drafting him and Shayak if you have them, okay? Are you going to get them together every time? Probably not, but either way, if you do get them together, you're going to be able to bulldoze pretty much any form of content out there outside of a couple unique bosses, right? He's such a good option. His A1 hits so hard that he's going to help you get around a lot of BS that certain bosses have. There are a couple, like the ones that reflect damage, that you have to be careful with, but in 80% of the situations, these two are going to be goated together. In terms of supports, Rock of Viletide, man, is probably going to be the best one that you can get here and for a support option if you have her. Heals on the A1 with increased shield and a full cleanse on the increased shield. A shield equal to her max HP and increased attack with the cleanse, and then block debuffs with a revive on the A3. Turn meter fill at the start of each turn with some continuous heals as well. Speed aura too. She's probably the best support in this faction that you can get. As for other drafts that could be good, Bells could be a good damage dealer. I didn't draft my Artok. If you're struggling with burners on your account and you don't have many burners, he would be a great draft to bring burn because you are going to need burn in a lot of fights, and he's a big tank. He can soak a lot of damage. Not too much to work with in this faction, but if you have the Champ's Warlord, could bring some block debuffs as well as lockout to be good during waves. But really the top ones I'm looking at here are Shayak, Artok, Crockhad, Raka, and Warlord are probably my top, champions that you can bring into the fold from the orcs. The demons, and now this is where it's going to get fun. Y'all wanted some damage dealers. Let me tell you about my favorite damage dealer in the game. Volcanos, dude. I drafted Volcanos. Now, I'm not always getting my demons together. I'm not sure how great. Nah, he's great. What am I talking about? If you can find a way to get 2 other demons on the squad, he's going to be a monster in pretty much 80% of the things. Maybe not some of the bosses, but against waves, he just will full auto it for you so easily. If they ever get turns, they're just going to burn to Kingdom Come. It's nasty. He's so good. If you can get 2 demons on the squad, his ignore defense is going to ramp up over time. So Volcanos is great. In terms of other damage dealers, Cheshire Cat. Phenomenal option. Can do damage to waves, can do damage to bosses, can do damage anywhere you need this guy to do damage. He is a beast. Cheshire Cat is amazing. Love him, okay? Preva, an amazing support option. Increased defense, increased speed, cleansing on her passive, not CC debuffs, which kind of does suck, but she's a great option for a lot of the bosses and champion bosses that aren't necessarily CCing you, but are debuffing you a lot. The passive cleanse is great. The debuff transfer is great. The res with the cooldown reset is great. She's a good healer, increased speed, increased defense option. Duchess, Lilitu, man, amazing. She is amazing. Her damage mitigation that she brings on her passive is so good. 15% from bosses on AoE attacks, block debuffs on the kit on top of a big team res with a lot of HP. She's a phenomenal anchor against a lot of these bosses that are reflecting damage or just are pains to deal with where you need a reviver. She's an amazing reviver option. She's going to be great in so many different places. Another shout out here, I guess. I did not draft my Kymar. I'm glad I didn't. I didn't need him. I would say Lamasu, another champion that I drafted. She's great. Cooldown reset, block buffs, decrease attack. She is super, super good. A lot of turn meter boost there with some intercept to actually absorb some of the CC debuffs. Chalco could be a great damage dealer option. Helicath to absorb damage. If you're looking for a debuffer, Sissia could also be good. You really can't go wrong when it comes to drafting the demon spawn. There's so many amazing champions from damage to support in this faction that bring so much to the table. But yeah, I mean, guys, this faction is absolutely stacked. The demons are loaded. Okay, here we go. All right, this is going to be great. For the Undead Hordes, I want to give a big shout out to Morgiane. Is that how you say your name? I'm not sure. Mainly because it's imperative that you're drafting at least 1 or 2 heal reduction champions. At least 1 in each deck for the Mimics, because you need it, or else he heals so much it's impossible to deal with him. So I would say Morgiane is a great draft. She's bringing decreased speed on the A1, true fear and decreased accuracy with buff steal from a target enemy. Super, super strong with increased speed, turn meter decrease, and turn meter fill on your team. She's a great waves champ. Again, 4-turn cooldown doesn't really matter because this is where you're really going to be using her with speed auras as well. She's great against waves. The heal reduction is nasty. The true fear is nasty. She really, like, if you don't have any control champions and you're stuck in a wave, she can do it by herself. She is amazing. Another honorable mention is Knave of Hearts. You have Knave booked out. Some HP swap with heal reduction, taunt, and unkillable. Great for the Mimic, okay? But I think Morgiane brings a little bit more for what you're probably going to need. Then, no surprise here, Fabian, dude. Oh my god. This dude is so good against waves and champion bosses. And like, look, you can't lock out the bosses, but this dude brings so much control. He just sets you, he makes the game so easy. He makes the game so easy. He's my most drafted arena champion in the game. Absolute monster for control for Fabian. Now, one of the best supports in the game in Grim Forest, Siphi, man. 9-piece protection. Siphi is one of the best support champions in the entire game. Top 5. Siphi's in my top 5 supports to have in Grim Forest. She's so good. Control on the A1. Healing options here. The A3, 4-turn cooldown, yes, but block debuffs, increased speed, increased defense with turn meter fill. This is everything that you need on a support champion with 9-piece protection to stop the egregious amounts of CC the bosses are putting on you in every unique boss on this fight. With a revive, single target, increased crit rate, increased attack on that champion with 55% HP and a full turn meter. It's amazing. More healing on the passive, but more importantly, a 50% chance to remove any freeze, fear, and true fear debuffs from each ally at the start of their turn. Awesome. Awesome, man. Absolutely awesome here because the bosses are putting out so much freeze. So much freeze. Freeze when you hit them. All this stuff. So if you have any downtime with your block debuffs, her passive is giving you a 50-50 to get out of it for free anyway. Absolutely amazing champion. She is so good. Another honorable mention for damage would obviously be her partner, Rhodos. Rhodos is great. Little Miss Annie could be a good damage dealer. I have not seen enough of Gaspar to honestly rate him, but those are going to be the best for the Legos in the Undead Hordes, in my opinion. Now, let's start out with the absolute obvious here about the best champion that you could possibly draft for Grim Forest from the Dark Elves faction. And to nobody's surprise here, it's going to be Lydia. Lydia is, in my opinion, a must draft. She brings so much to the table. Everything. True fear on the A1 with my blessing. Regular fear if you don't have it. Decreased defense, weaken strength, and increased speed. Then block buffs, which is amazing against so many bosses with lock active skills for the waves with revive denial. Lydia is amazing. She's one of my most drafted Legos in the entire game in Grim Forest. You can use her against every boss in the game, and she's great. Literally, I think every time I've had her open for a boss, I've drafted her. She covers so much. She is amazing. One of the best Legos in the game. Okay, who else? A sleeper shout out here is actually going to be Lanicus, okay? If you need a buff extender and an ally attacker, because at this point in the game, you probably have a lot of great damage dealers, she's going to bring 30% turn meter fill with an ally attack here with an extra turn and increased crit rate on her A3, okay? Kind of a sleeper pick here. I think I did draft her because I did need more buff extenders, and she brings an ally attack. She's one of the most underrated Legos in the game. She's like a budget Mikage if Mikage got combined with an Arbiter because of the turn meter boost. So Lanicus can pull out some extra damage from your team whilst giving good at buff extension and turn meter fill for your squad. Yeah, a very sleeper champion if you have her built. She's actually pretty dang good. As for other champions in here, Mithrala, you can't really go wrong with. Mithrala, again, is going to be a pretty solid option. But Blind Seer with her buffs actually might not be that bad. Turn meter decrease here. Block debuffs, again, with a big juicy heal on a 3-turn cooldown. 2 turns here. Shield equal to 30% of her max HP with a full revive. Big turn meter. Block damage on all allies. Looking at Blind Seer, actually, Blind Seer is a great option here. A very, very good option. This is a good reviver. Post buffs. Again, if they bring block debuffs and a revive with healing, they are a fantastic option if you have them on your account. Like my most drafted champions are block debuffs champions in Grim Forest. As for damage, not a lot of great damage in this faction, to be honest. Honestly, Xenomorph might not be a bad draft for a lot of people that haven't. Listen, he can hit pretty hard. Xenomorph can do it. He could be your damage dealer. He could be great in waves with this Infesty buff. So I would say his reviews, like in Demon Lord, are pretty dang good. So again, he could be a good damage option for you if you're struggling to find anyone else. Mine is Aphidus, to be honest with you. Mine is Aphidus. So, okay. Past the Dark Elves, Knights Rev. Now, let me say this, guys. There's some beasts in this faction. There are some beasts in this faction. Again, if you're looking for poison and waves, you can't go wrong with Narma. You can't go wrong with Tomb Lord. You can't go wrong with Calvalax. You can't go wrong with Theodore. But for me personally, my favorite champs in this faction to draft are going to be Mad Hatter, who has been great for me. He helps me set damage records against bosses. This A2 is so strong. Teams up with an ally attacks with the ally with the highest crit damage, your nuker, and then amplifies that damage by 10% per each debuff on the target. This is the hardest hitting ally attack skill, one of them in the game. Against clan bosses, this guy is the best damage enabler in the game. Not the best, but he's top 5 for sure. He's made his way onto all the top teams because of this skill, with the buff extension turn meter fill here as well, and some cleansing. So a little mini cleanse, buff extension, turn meter fill, some healing and true fear on the passive with buff strip and debuff spread on the A1 if they're under hex with AoE hex and weaken. This dude's a beast. He's so good. So strong. Yeah, Mad Hatter, man. He's goated everywhere. Another honorable mention before I do some more. Venalicia, man. Newer champion. A couple people in my clan pulled her. Weaken on the A1 with a triple hitter. She's got block buffs and decreased defense on an AoE with a full buff removal on all enemies. That's my sub notification, my bad. And then a full res, 50% HP, 50% turn meter. If all allies are dead, 75% HP and 75% turn meter, and then decreases the cooldown of all ally revive skills by 1 turn with a cooldown decrease on enemies on a 4-turn cooldown. Really great res here. Then Pain Link when she gets hit. Insane. This is so good because it's so hard to get damage out on a lot of these bosses because enemy max HP has been nerfed. Ignore defense has been nerfed. So you need to find alternative ways to put damage out there and reflecting the boss's damage back onto him. And again, this comes out everywhere, right? It heals her when attacked by an enemy under a Pain Link once per turn. It's so good. With turn meter fill here whenever an ally dies. This is insane. She is an insanely strong support champion. Really good if you have her. Absolutely worth the draft. She's like Lydia, but a reser. Absolutely nasty. Then my favorite damage dealer, I gotta say, gotta be Georgian. This dude smacks, man. He does so much damage to like champion bosses, waves. This A3 into the A2 here is nasty. He does so much damage. He's quickly become one of my favorite champions. I just throw him like in Arena, you have him Stone Skin, but in Grim Forest, I just throw him Merciless and he smacks. Dude's a beast. Love Georgian. Honorable mentions, Ancora, an amazing option here with the cleanse. Only thing she's really missing is block debuffs, but she does have this passive that soaks CC to herself and then fills her turn meter. So that makes her that makes up for the lack of block debuffs on the champion. Theodore is a great option for poisons, increased speed, and wave control. Queen of Hearts is going to be amazing as well for a lot of waves and bosses. Queen of Hearts is an amazing draft here. I just don't have her, which is why she was not the top of my list, and most people don't. So that sucks. So I would say in this faction, I'm going to give it to Hatter, Georgid, Venalicia, and Queen of Hearts / Ancora. They are both amazing options to have in the Knights Red. That is a stacked faction for Grim Forest. Stacked. Dwarves. Okay, let's start out with the obvious. The #1 best champion in Grim Forest. Not even close. She's the best champ in Grim Forest. I don't think it's a competition. Senna. Dude, I have 2 Sennas on my account. I have a Senna in one deck and another Senna in another deck. One with a 6-star soul, one without. She makes Grim Forest, unironically, so easy in every single boss. She is S+ tier in every champion boss, Mimic, the Goblin, the final boss, because she brings turn meter to shake the entangle. She is the #1 best legendary champion in Grim Forest, in my opinion, and I can't think of a champion that's better. She makes the game so easy because your entire team is essentially at 500-600 speed, even if they're not built that way. It just makes the game so easy, right? A1, activated continuous heal, 60% chance. A2, increased speed, 2 continuous heals with a 20% turn meter fill there. On the A3, 4-turn AoE revive with 50% HP and turn meter. Then the ally attack the enemy with the lowest HP. Insane, but the passive, guys, whenever a continuous heal buff activates on any ally, fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%, and then at the end of the turn, she extends 1 continuous heal on a random ally except this champion by 1 turn. She's constantly turn meter boosting. She's literally a cheat code to the game. If you are like me and you're lucky enough to have Senna, she is a must draft. Literally, I don't care where it is. If Senna is available, you draft her over everyone else every time. She is that good. She makes the game so easy. There's a reason why on all the best teams, you see Senna on 90% of those teams. She is absolutely busted. This champion makes Grim Forest so easy. Number one in the game for me. No contest, not even close. Now, as for some other options that you could have for champions here, let's take a look here. I mean, you could go with Newt, but to be honest with you guys, I've been a bit underwhelmed by Newt in Grim Forest because he's not exceptionally great in waves, and he's got his max HP skill nerfed, even though it's a triple hitter. Look, he gets it done. If you need a damage dealer in the dwarves to get it done, Newt gets it done. But don't expect him to be as goated in Grim Forest as he is in dungeons, for example. Or places where max HP is not nerfed. He is great, don't get me wrong, but he's not like top tier in my opinion. The same kind of goes for Acresia. I don't know, guys. Like, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure where to look because the dwarves I drafted were my Senna, my Newt, and my 2 mythicals here who I've not really used, to be honest with you. I probably won't draft them again, but Furad is great. I'll talk about him later. I don't know, guys. I honestly, looking at this, I don't really know who else I would draft from this faction. I mean, Arnorn is great for waves and doing boss damage. Gronjar, I guess, because he has a revive, doesn't he? I know he has a burn on the AoE. No damage from burns. There's a who puts the block buffs up? Somebody puts block. I guess Molly for the res. Tholen is probably a great damage option here too against some of the bosses out there. You can't really go wrong with Tholen. Maybe Trunda as well. Brogni. Here we go. I knew I was missing somebody. Brogni's a great option. If you're looking for block debuffs, look no further. Burn on the A1. 100% chance of removing a buff from all enemies, which is great. Increases the value of shield by the damage inflicted. Block debuffs. Increase attack and shield. He is a fantastic option. Then whenever anyone's under a shield, reflects 25% of the damage on the shield back. It's insanely good. Insanely good, dude. Heals the ally by 25% of the damage inflicted on the shield. This dude's a beast, okay? Great against the gold-plated dude. Great against most of the bosses that are placing freeze. This guy is probably, I would say, probably the second best draft outside of Senna. Because the thing is, guys, like, what comes first for these bosses is making sure that you actually have the buffs that you need to protect yourselves from their insane skills, from the poisons, from the freezes, from the provokes. The first step to building all of your teams is ensuring that you have the buffs to stop their debuffs and making sure they're protected. That's really the key thing here for these guys. So my top 2 are going to be Senna and Brogni. I would say Newt is a great draft still. Tholen's probably a good one too. Shout out Tholen, I underestimated him. And maybe a Trunda as well for damage you can't go wrong with. So the dwarves also, Oskrin. Quick shout out to Oskrin too. He's pretty good. Okay, Shadowkin. This is where it gets fun. Okay, as for damage dealers, there's a lot of good champions here. Ninja is a beast. He's so good against so many bosses because a lot of these bosses need burn. And Ninja brings his own burn. He brings decreased defense. He escalates over time. He's insanely good. S tier Ninja, okay? Harima. Another S tier option here. She's great against waves. She's great against the Demon Spawn faction. She brings big damage, and she reduces ignore defense from some of the better Legos out there that you're going to be going up against in Grim Forest. She's just a great anchor damage dealer. She is fantastic. Love some Harima. Leo is amazing too. I think Leo's a great draft, man. Unkillable on himself, increased defense and ally protect on the whole team makes him great against the gold-plated little gremlin. He's great for keeping your team alive and being an anchor. His A3 does big damage to all enemies when a lot of buffs are up. He smacks, man. He smacks. And you can draft the other turtles as well. Quick shout out to Raph and Mikey. I did draft all of my turtles for those of you who made your turtles. You can draft your turtles and they're good together. Together they're great. But Leo's a great option there. Iyasu, another great damage dealing option. This dude's a beast. Block revive on that A2. He just hits so hard. Don't need to break down the kit. This dude smacks, and that's all you need to know. Yumeko would be a great option. Shuzen is probably pretty good for the waves, but I think you can get better supports and turn meter boosters. But if you need somebody to be a kind of a speed engine for your team, you don't have anyone else, and you have Shuzen, she's great. Like, she will get that done for you. But Riho Bone Spear, let me just take a minute to talk about how goated this champion is. Another top 5 champion in the entire game to draft into Grim Forest. She is a hard carry. Hard carry. She's so good. And I got a 6-star soul on mine, baby. Let's go. Okay. What does Rio bring to the table? Continuous healing, which you need. You need big heals for a lot of the bosses. Pretty much every debuff you need in the game outside of block buffs on this A2 and decreased speed. So your burn, your decreased defense, your weaken, your decreased attack, decreased crit rate with a lot of bosses that have higher crit rates than they used to. Quick thing to note, they've been increasing the critical rate on bosses, so decreased crit rate has become a much better buff. Then the holy godsend, block debuffs, full cleanse, big heal by 35% of the max HP and a 5% more for each debuff removed from them. Now, I don't have my Rio in 9-piece protection. I suppose I could. I'm trying to get her a 9-piece fair. I still can't get the dang banner. I've been waiting for the banner for 9 months, and I've won a ton of sieges. Plarium, where's my Shadowkin fair? It doesn't even have to be good. Just give it to me. Okay? She's a monster, man. Then the passive, every 3 turns, when receiving any debuffs, returns them from this champion back to the attacker. Absolutely nasty. Dude, she brings so much. I would say my top supports are probably Senna number 1, Sifia Rio 2 and 3, maybe Lydia at 4, right? I'd have to think maybe some block debuff champs are probably better, at least for the ones that I've used. I think Lydia is so good, guys. But Rio is an absolute monster of a champion. Shout out Yameko as well. Lady Kimmy kind of in the same situation as Shuzen if you need like a good waves champion. Tetsuya, great if you have other Shadowkin. I'm trying to leave the unities out unless they're goated, but Tetsuya is goated. But those are my top Shadowkin, man. They're absolute monsters. Such good champions. Then, oh boy, our Sylvans, man, our Sylvans. So, let's start out with the obvious. I wish I had her. I don't. Elva Autumnborn is probably going to be one of the better supports in the entire game that you can draft in Grim Forest. Again, why is that? Continuous heals on the A1. You need a big healer. And then increased speed, block debuffs on the A2. You guys seeing a common theme? I hope I'm really hammering this home. Block debuffs are the best. It's the best buff that you can bring to Grim Forest. It's so essential for every boss fight. You're going to wish you had it if you don't. Then a revive with increased defense and increased attack, single target on a 3-turn cooldown with 40% HP, 50% turn meter. You love to see that. With even more healing on her passive. Heals each ally by 10% of the max HP at the start of their turn. Then perfect veil for 1 turn on the ally with the lowest HP at the end of this champion's turn. She is amazing. Shout out to Elva on brand for how broken a Sylvan support is. I mean, look at these ratings. Holy guacamole. Elva is a beast. Okay, now another shout out. This might be rare to see this. However, I think this is one of the few places where Glycad is actually going to be better than Feral, who are both goated. Glycad is amazing for Grim Forest. He's so good. He's got some control on his A1, okay? Attacks one enemy 2 times, 50% chance of placing a freeze that cannot be resisted if they're under 50% HP. Great control. Meltwater Cloak. 4-turn cooldown here. Increase attack on all allies with a 100% chance of Veil when booked with a 15% turn meter fill. Really, really good. But what makes it great is you get to open up with this on a 4-turn cooldown. I feel like this is a 3-turn cooldown. Am I crazy? No, I didn't realize. I thought I could have always sworn. I guess he has an extra turn on his kit, so really it is a 3-turn, okay? Full revive with 40% HP and 25% turn meter. I'll be candid with you guys here. It's not a great revive because the 25% turn meter is really low. But he also places increased defense and increased accuracy on all allies. And they'll get placed if no allies were revived. If no one was revived, grants him an extra turn. So you can open up with this A2, put increased accuracy and increased defense on your team, and then go straight into the Meltwater Cloak open with the A3 and then close with the A2. Putting 4 buffs on your team, then allies under Perfect Veil deal 10% more damage. And damage escalation is going to be huge in Grim Forest because so many of the bosses have damage mitigation. So you really need to find ways to undo that damage mit these bosses have. And Glycat is a great enabler. The AoE res is great. The damage amplification is great. I put Brimstone on mine, and he's actually really, really good, especially against some of the bosses and against some of the waves. He actually is pretty dang good in waves. I'm not sure I don't know where his Doom Tower ratings are, but he actually is pretty pretty sleeper. He's goated in Faction Wars. He's not great in Arena, but really where he's shown was Hydra and Chimera. I think Grim Forest, especially against a lot of these bosses, is another place because of the control. Because they're event dungeon style bosses, the fact he brings this control, he's tanky and he's fast, is really, really helpful putting that veil up on the squad too. Glycat is great. Another GOAT, okay, in my opinion, Grand Oak Padraig, man. Now, Padraig is not goated against some of the bosses. He brings all the buffs that you need, but against waves and some of the champion bosses, he's so nice to have on your squad. You got to be careful. He'll get you caught out against things like Queen of Hearts and some of those bosses, but some of the other ones, man, 50% chance of decreasing a school's cooldown by on a random ally by 2 turns. Ally attack. Restore, destroy max HP, which can be very helpful against some of these enemies. With continuous heals on each champion is great on a 4-turn. Then increase speed, full cleanse, turn meter fill on a 3-turn. On his A3 is great. And this passive, giving everybody their buffs that they need at the start of their turn. Attack champions are going to get their increased attack. Defense get increased defense. Supports get increased accuracy. HP champs get a shield. It's so helpful. Really, particularly, guys, getting increased accuracy on some of your supports when you're going up against Androx and different stuff like that is so helpful, man. Absolutely insane champion. Then a shout out to Feral as well. He's a beast. Damage amplification, block buffs, increased res can be very, very good against some of the more troublesome bosses and champion bosses out there. As for damage dealers, guys, to be honest, not too many great ones in this faction. Alil is all right. Balar is great for waves. Calder, I think, is I'm not a Calder fan. I have him, and I'm not a Calder fan. He requires too much to set up here. Neve as well. Going to be a good option for the block damage. She can be great. And guys, that's going to do it. That's going to be my best Legos for Grim Forest. Notice how most of them were supports. Like I'm telling you guys, like supports, they're very, very essential. Having the right supports is probably the most important thing in the Grim Forest. Get those block debuffs up and get it going. Get ready for an epic version of this, and I might do a mythical version of this as well. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Who did I snub? Let me know down below. Take care. Much love. Peace out.